Hello and welcome everybody to All That Matters 2020 Virtual Edition. I'm Rob Schwartz of Billboard, and it's my distinct honor to be with a megastar from Hong Kong, China, Greater China, branding and fashion entrepreneur, Edison Chen. Edison, how are you doing, man?
Not bad, Rob. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah. Yeah, good to see you. Hopefully there's no smoke invading your apartment as you're there in Tinseltown.
No, the sky's been really gray and kind of weird lately. It's all these fires on the West Coast. It's been a little interesting. Staying
Yeah, it's
indoors.
been pretty rough. Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, you've had a long and varied career. I want to start at the beginning. In 1999, or 2000 rather, you released Edison Chen, and it was made pretty big splash at the time. And then in 2001, you released what, 5 albums, like back to back to back? Could you tell us about that? Were you like having all these musical ideas just like exploding, or what's the deal with that?
Well, actually, it's funny that you say that. Is that when I first started my recording career, I was very much the record company's artist. I was written songs, told how to sing. It was just. I was kind of like I felt like it was cookie cutter, and I was kind of put into that position. So no, it wasn't. I actually tried really hard to add some type of element of myself into these songs. So love canto pop songs. You'd find like 8 bars of rap, and it was like my cry to kind of try to get myself into creative mode, because I thrust into the recording game off of really doing movies. So I had passion for music, but I wasn't really. I would say I didn't acquire the skills to be ready when I got a chance to musically express myself. So at that moment, I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. These songs, sometimes I didn't even know what I was saying on the songs, But looking back, it actually gave me, in context, it gave me a lot of experience and firsthand kind of experimenting with what goes in the studio and what goes on with making music. So,
It's interesting.
it was an interesting time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's endemic to Asian music industries, around the region. The sort of cookie cutter, we create the artist, we give the artist the songs. It's really quite different in the West, right? I mean, that doesn't happen so much anymore, right?
No, yeah. So, it's interesting. I don't remember by which album, but I started getting a little bit more control over what I wanted to do. And it was interesting because I had the last album on my deal, and it seemed like the record company was just like, here's the budget, make an album if you think you can. And I made
Cool.
my best album. Yeah, I made my best album to date, just because I could express myself with songs that I believed in and that I loved, and I became one with the music, so to speak. Like I felt like it was an extension of me. So I cared about what every word that I said, every beat, it had to be just exactly right with the emotion that I wanted to match it with. And I started kind of really delving into music making, even though, like I said, I had never really had any traditional training, but just as having fun, and I think that kind of drove me for all of my musical kind of endeavors. I tried to surround myself with people that I were professionals, rhymers, beat producers, especially, and just try to sponge everything and learn as the process went. Because back then, other than LMF, which is considered heavily underground, no one really on a mainstream level was trying to push hip hop at that moment, especially in the Hong Kong market. I mean, in Taiwan,
Right.
they had MC Hot Dog a little bit earlier, Evolution, and now China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, they all, it's it's synonymous with youth culture now, you know? So I feel proud in being able to open the doors for these guys, you know, like people always say, hey, what do you think of your music? And I say, hey, I'm just kind of trying to lead the way for these other rappers, because these other rappers, I would say, you know, they're lyrically, the Chinese language is their first language. I mean, my first language is English. So, you know, I'm just trying to be a part of it and have fun. And I feel like we did. I mean,
Right, right. I'm just going to take a shot here. So that album that you had more creative control over, was that Please Steal This Album? Or am I missing my
yeah,
shot there?
yeah, no, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it. And we came
That
out
was a huge hit, man.
with, yeah, I mean, you know, it was unexpected from every angle. So I thought that this is into my career. So let's just do something fun and run with it, you know? And it was my best-selling album to date, other than my debut album.
Yep.
And it kind of changed the course of my whole life, actually, because it gave me more confidence in what I believed in what I want, my creative vision. Because, you know, I followed what supposed heavyweights in the industry for Edison Chen, or what they told me it was best for Edison Chen. And the whole time I was wondering, you know, waking up in the morning, looking at myself in the mirror saying, is this the new me? You know, like, is this the new me for real? And it was a real big blessing that after we did Please Steal This Album, just validating, you know, me and my crew's passion and drive for music.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that distinction between the public persona and the person who you really are, I think that always throws everybody for a loop, you know, when they become famous. And I think it screws everybody up. I mean, there's always that giant chasm between who the public sees you as and who you really are, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, honestly, I think I actually I started believing the hype, I think, you know. I kind of grew into that the entertainment feeds certain types of people into it. And you know, I was on I don't even know how to describe it. I felt like I was on a meteoric rise, and I couldn't see and you know, it's like never coming. I always felt like the ceiling was coming, and it never came. And it came to me in a very different type of way.
Yeah.
And
We'll get to
yeah,
that.
it came to me a very different. Yeah, but you know, it was an amazing time. I think for Hong Kong, because
right.
not only out of the
Yeah.
music, you know, out of the music, we also created our you know, our own fashion brand, our own store. We started creative directing, you know, other people's projects, and I think it opened a whole new mind frame of kids wanting to be creative, you know, instead of doctor or a lawyer or something, and kind of letting them live their dreams, you know, because that's really what I was doing.
Right, right. All right, well, let's get on to that. I have so many questions for you. I think we're going to run out of time, but let's get on to CLOT. I mean, you created a fashion brand. You know, really shifted your career from being a star to being a creator in a different way. Tell me what was the impetus for you to do that, and how you felt about it.
It's an interesting story. Is I think after my second or third movie, I was at a press conference, and you know, I'm young, upcoming, snotty, you know, I think the best thing in the room, you know, and a reporter fielded me a question. They said, hey, how does it feel to be a part of a new company? And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, by the way, you didn't know that your contract got sold last night to this company. And I was like, what? Like, I can't even, like, is that legal? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I had a big riff with not only my management, but the whole industry. I was shook. I felt like I was a piece of meat. And I actually ran, you call it run away, but, you know, I was already a young adult. So I kind of escaped to Japan, and spent around 2-3 months there just trying to find myself and see if this is right for me, you know? And thankfully, in the time that I spent in Japan, I met a couple of the people, my idols. And, you know, one of them's name is Hiroshi Fujiwara, and the other one's is ego of a bathing ape, you know, and they were like, you know, what are you doing in Japan? I'm like, trying to find out what I want to do. And I'm like, you know, I explained my situation to them, and they're like, hey, you should go back and be a purveyor of this culture that you love. And, you know, maybe, you know, if you want to do something in fashion, we'll definitely back you. And, you know, they kind of mentored me in a way that made me understand that if I started something on my own, then I don't have to adhere to what my manager says. At 9 a.m. I have to go there. At 11 p.m. I should be wearing this, sitting next to this person, smiling. You know, like it seemed very exotic being able what I wanted to do, you know, and be the boss, you know. So I came back to Hong Kong with a new direction of trying to kind of leverage what I had in the entertainment industry, so that hopefully one day, if the entertainment industry got pulled from under me, I would still have something. And it's a big blessing in disguise, because you know, till today, we're still pushing CLOT. You know, we're collaborating with some of the biggest companies in the world, thank God. You know, some companies that I wished I worked with when I was a kid, and you know, I couldn't be happier. You know, it was a moment, yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking to you from Tokyo, I'm happy to know that Japan had an influence in pushing you in a good direction. I want to ask you, because you talked about your film career, and one of your early films was with Takashi Miike, who is, you know, obviously now a really huge director. At that time, was more of a genre director. But so was that film before that trip to Japan where you met Nico and all those guys, or was that at the same time?
That was before.
Yeah.
That was before, yeah. So
right.
I finished filming Gen Y Cops, like, yeah, and then went to Japan and just did that Takashi Miike film, like as a cameo, real quick.
Right. Yeah, I just want to ask, I also write about film, so I just want to ask you quickly, what was it like working with Miike? You know, he's got this incredible cult following worldwide, so.
I have, you know, it was very interesting. I'm as much as other people would maybe say that it's a contradiction, but I'm actually very the director's boy. I like to listen to the director. I like to sponge as much as off of him and just kind of outline who I'm supposed to be, because the director is the one that handles all the actors. So I actually had a lot of interesting conversations with Miike. He knew how to work me as an actor. You know, there's 2 instances where there's a part where I'm supposed to be wearing, put it on the right way. And he goes, Edison, you're wearing it the wrong way. And I was like, no, I'm not. He goes, turn it around. And I was just like, okay. You know, I turn around, I see the framing, and I see his, you know, after I saw the movie, I was like, okay, it totally makes sense with not knowing what happened to the other scenes. But, you know, Miike definitely has a vision, and he knows how to kind of make you understand it, even if it's for that one moment, that 1 second of film. So I value the experience I had with him. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's talk briefly about the scandal. I mean, your life was turned upside down. You were, you know, one of the hottest things in Hong Kong, and overnight everything changed. I'd like to hear about it from your perspective. And I mean, you didn't do anything wrong. So were you like angry? I mean, I would imagine that you would be pretty angry what happened to you.
I think it took a long time for me to quite fully understand how I felt about it. You know, so many people had opinions. My mother, my father, people that I had never met, the whole Asian community. So I was very frustrated, definitely, at first, and very scared, just not knowing what was going to happen. I mean, you know, I had 30 minutes to go to my house and pack up before they made me leave Hong Kong, after I helped the Hong Kong police do what they needed to do. So it was very nerve-wracking. Yeah. So, but you know, I think, yeah, I was a little angry. You know, I think I was definitely not so much at the situation, but at the people who didn't stand up for me. Like, you know, I felt like I was very close with Hong Kong, and Hong Kong, the city, even the city, you know, like, and just to be kind of hung out to dry was a very sad thing, because, you know, I moved to Hong Kong when I was 9, and I call it my home, and it felt like hometown didn't want me. That's when I moved to LA, and I've been here for 12 years now. And I guess it's my new home, but that whole thing kind of changed my perspective on everything. Like I thought for the first 2 years that it was the worst thing that happened to my life. But now looking back, I can't. It's weird that I would say this thing, but it's definitely a huge turning point in my life, introspectively wise, of who I am and what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, because I felt like I was the king, and overnight I was worse than trash, So, thank God, like I said, that I had this company, CLOT, and my fans were loyal to me. I love all my fans that have been down for me from day one, because without them, my movies, my music, my CLOT, everything would be non-existent. But we persevered, and they stood around for the ride. So I'm happy where I'm at now.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, well, I mean, there is that old cliche, and I don't know if it's true. You speak Chinese languages, you can tell me, but they say that the word crisis also means opportunity in Chinese languages. Who knows? Is that really true? I don't know. But certainly it often new opportunities for you. One thing I want to ask you just in general. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, please.
Okay, I just want to ask you in general, because I think people are watching from all over the world here, and they don't necessarily know a lot about Hong Kong. I would say that scandals in Hong Kong and just in general, it's so much more intense and vicious than anywhere else in the world. Like by far, anything that I've seen, like a scandal happens in Hong Kong, it's like, they want to execute the person. It's nothing like that in the United States. You can have a scandal, and maybe the U.S. is renowned for, second chances or whatever. But Hong Kong, it's just unbelievable how they approach that. I mean, I've never seen anything else like it anywhere else in the world. Would you have any way to compare it to anywhere else? I mean, it just seems crazy.
I mean, I'm the role, not the role model, but the spokesperson for that. Right.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I thought I understood Hong Kong and Hong Kong culture, but after that, it was a very nerve-wracking experience for me. And when you're on top, everyone's gonna love you, but when you're on the bottom, only your true friends are around. And I'm lucky to have some people that were truly my support force. And I very rarely travel to Hong Kong now. Not that I don't like it. That sometimes I don't feel welcome there, and it's obviously a residual effect of everything that happened. And all my friends, when I go to Hong Kong, they're like, "Yeah, man, you tripping? Everyone loves you here." I'm like, "Man, I don't know about that. Like, let's go." So I think it's also something inside me. But hopefully one day I can shed that, and me and Hong Kong can reignite our love affair.
Right. Let's hope. All right. Enough of that. Let's talk about your brands, your fashion brands. You have so many brands. Tell me about Juice. Tell me about the Japanese brands you've worked with, and then we'll get on to your creative agency after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think since I've refocused my energy, I try to kind of gear myself into being an entrepreneur a little bit more, in trying to understand new businesses and also building on the fashion business. So, I run a bunch of different brands, Emotionally Unavailable, CLOT, V-Loan, we work with Nike right now, which is been a great blessing. Just really excited, like being able to work with new creatives. I think why I'm actually the formula for the fashion brand thing is to try to find some new young blood that maybe in 3 years, if I want to step aside, they can kind of carry the torch. So I've been trying to find from all different places in the world, from China, from America, from Europe, from Japan to Mexico, just trying to find people are and trying to see who hopefully be able to pinpoint one or two of the next ones, because October 7th is my birthday, and I'm turning 40, and that's not old, but you know, I infamously once said that I was going to retire when I was 35 to the Hong Kong media. So I'm already 5 years late, guys. So I'm trying to find the next wave of people so that, you know, I don't have to always be in front of the camera or say this is my brand, and hopefully the next designer can be their brand. And I just supported them from the back. And I think that that's something that I'm interested in leaving the legacy is not only doing what I think that I can do to the ultimate best I can to pave a way and give chances to people that might need a chance, you know?
Right. And you also started a creative agency, which is, you know, kind of different than the fashion brands you run. I guess, how do you say it? 3125C? I guess, is that how you say it?
Yeah. No, it's 3125C. It's a Pantone number. It's,
okay.
It's kind of like it leads voice color, which is a feeling I think that for me embeds a luxury in a sense. But yeah, you know, we call ourselves Creative Remedies. We go from helping you do pop-up stores to starting new brands and finding distribution and production, or helping Nike do some ads, or helping Intersect find brands for their convention, or curating the next, you know, art shows or whatever. So it was actually an accident that we actually started this agency. It was we started doing these pop-ups with galleries and with art and candy. We did 3 stops around the world, and then, you know, all these corporate companies called us for consulting work. I was like, wow, okay. You know, so I started pulling some people from different teams, from Ogilvy, a couple of people that have been working with me for a long time. And, you know, it was actually spawned by one of my longtime staff. It was like, she's like, I'm tired of doing this entertainment work. I'm like, me too. What is it that you want to do? And she's like, I think that doing an agency would be really cool. And I was like, well, look, there's these 3 clients that just called us that want to do these things. And, you know, we've kind of steamrolled that into being a pretty up and coming company. And hopefully we'll get more chances with some good projects and be something formidable in the near future.
Right. Cool. So yeah, I mean, these days I feel like you work a lot with fashion brands. You have a creative agency. Let's just talk about branding for a second. If I just ask you point blank, like, as far as branding goes, what's like the most important thing to, you know, promote a brand or push a brand forward? If you had to pinpoint one thing or a few things, what would you say?
I say having an identity. You know, it's not definitely, you know, some people think it's a logo, but I definitely think that it's much more deeper than that. It's identity of the brand is, what the culture of the brand is, what you're trying to say through the, you know, say a brand like Supreme, they go heavily into skateboarding culture, and, you know, for we're talking the welding of Asian and Western cultures into fashion, you know. So we have a really kind of direct kind of identity and voice. And I think that that's the most important, because a logo can be popular for 6 months and it can go. But if you have people that really attach themselves to what as well, they'll be lifers. So that's, you know, and weathering the storm. You know, I think for some people might gain a little success and then kind of like start falling back. But I think that really believing in your vision and believing in your dream is the most important thing. So, you know, kind of sticking to your own unique vision, and hopefully, if you understand that you do have a unique that voice, and I think just doing whatever you can to express yourself is important for young entrepreneurs and young.
Oh, you cut out there for a second. Great, cool. Can you hear me? You cut out there for a second.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Okay, cool. I want to switch it back just to a second to your movie career because we didn't talk too much about it. I asked you about Miike, but you were in a ton of huge Hong Kong films, Infernal Affairs. You also had a part in Dark Knight Rises. A lot of people may not know that. We'll that story aside right now. But you've been in a lot of really big movies, both in the East and in LA, in the West. Is that something you want to pursue? I mean, you live in LA now, so.
That's another forum, you know what I mean? That's a whole other. Sometimes there's invisible barriers that you can never crush down. And
talk about
all
it,
I can
man.
say is that I'm very
Preach.
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I'm very passionate about acting, and I think that I'm not bad of an actor. I think, but I don't know. I don't really know what to tell myself because if I can't find work, then obviously I'm not a good actor. So, I don't know what it is that's blocking me able to act, but there's something happening that even if I go to casting, I won't, even if I win the job in the end job, and there's something there blocking, but I can't really figure it out. And I kind of, this is, I guess, it's going to end it. We're going to end on the sob story, but me and my family, we all, and they say, what is it that you want for the next year? I said, I want to act. I said this for, I'd say 2010, 11, 12, up to 2018. And I was like, they're like, oh yeah, I know what you're going to wish for next year. I'm like, no, not anymore. I've changed. Because 10 years is a long time of trying to chase a dream that you think you grasp, and you can feel it in your hand, and when you actually close to grasp it, it's gone. And hopefully one day I'll be able to return to the movie screen, and we'll see.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel you, man. I mean, there's no doubt that there are barriers for Asian American actors in Hollywood. That's not a secret, right? So, yeah, I mean, hopefully one day we can break down those barriers and make it a little bit more, really talent can shine through, because there's so much talent in so many different communities, and you don't see it that much. I mean, there's been a couple of films in the last couple of years, as I'm sure you're aware, but yeah, there's still a lot of barriers there.
Yeah, I mean, but I really for upcoming movies, big name movies, we've actually been invited to do costume design. So somehow, some way, we're still kind of involved, and I'm kind of excited about the movie, but I can't really talk about what it is. But I think when it comes out, it's going to be an interesting Asian push. So I'm glad to be a part of it somehow.
Cool. Wow. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're working in the film somehow. Looks like we're running low on time. So last question, or probably last question. You recently made a couple of musical appearances. You hadn't done so much stuff for a while, but 2017, you were at Modern Sky Festival in New York. You released some mixtapes. You have any desire to do more of that, or was that just sort of one-off stuff? Or
yeah, I think the last time I released was 3 years ago, and I did consecutively 3 summers of music festivals, because I was trying to build music festivals. I felt like I've been going to so many music festivals since 2008, especially Coachella, that when I went to a music festival in China, I was like, these guys a lot, like, just giving the people some ideas and some infrastructure. So I teamed up with Modern Sky because they do have a huge music festival called Strawberry Festival. So over the past 3 years, but the 3 years before that, we probably did about 40 music festival shows. And I would always try to kind of push the envelope and be like, hey, you guys got to put more budget into my stage design. I was like, how's it that the 12 o'clock guy on noon has the same stage design as the guy that headlines your thing at 9 p.m.? You got to put some more money into my show. And this is not just for me. I was like, this is for your festival. And this is for you to show other artists that they should play at Strawberry Music Festival because you invested. And, I don't know if I succeeded, but at least, you know, we did what we wanted to do. And I feel like the music scene in China is getting better and better and better. And, you know, the people behind it also have, behind the scenes also have to respect it in a way that can allow us artists to shine better too. You know, me, I'm very outspoken. I'll tell you how I feel whenever I feel. So hopefully people that came to see the show, they enjoyed it and, you know, understood that we put in 150% into the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've reported on Strawberry Festival in Billboard before, so yeah, something that definitely needs to get more attention, I think, yeah. I think we're out of time, so we're going to go to Q&A from our viewers. There's a Google Sheets, I think, that people can type their questions into. So I think that's what we're going to do now, if I'm not mistaken.
Cool. So
thanks for the talk. It was great.
No, thanks, Rob.
We'll see you in that
link.
Man.
Thank you.
Yeah. It was good fun.
All right.